those 8-minute deliveries that we make of our groceries. Now those companies, they're called quick commerce companies, and those companies' profit figures ain't all that well. Dunzo, a very famous player, came out with its financial results where the losses were up nearly 300% to over 1,800 crore rupees of losses just for the last year. So is the quick commerce business model making sense? Does it make sense at a unit economics level? We're going to ask that question to Mr. Barnik Chitran Maitra, Managing Partner of Arthur D. Little, India and South Asia, joining us live on the broadcast here at Business Plus. Barnik, always great talking to you. There were always questions on the unit economics of quick commerce companies, but I'm going to turn this around. It's not just about Dunzo. Yes, Dunzo's losses have widened, but their revenues are also technically growing, but not keeping in pace with their profits. The question here is that you have a Zepto, which is a good case scenario. You have a Swiggy Instamart, which is part of a Swiggy house, so that problem gets mitigated. You have Blinkit, which is improving and performing well for Zomato. So how do we understand the quick commerce business, Barnik?
Yeah, so the quick commerce business is a fairly simple business, right? It is you're delivering grocery. You're incurring a cost, right, to deliver it, which is the driver and the delivery charges, and then you're recovering hopefully some of it from the consumers, right? Now first, let's demystify the Dunzo financials, because I've seen the press coverage of it and I don't agree that it's fully accurate. I think the expenses of Dunzo has gone from nearly 500 crores to over 2,000 crores in FY23.
Right.
I think there's a lot of news that this is due to marketing. The marketing, yes, has increased from 50 crores to nearly 300 crores plus. A lot of it linked to the IPL spending, but that does not explain the 1,500 crore jump in expenses, right? Which is the fundamental reason why they are not profitable.
And Barnik, so that increase in marketing spends has not resulted in that kind of a quantum leap in their revenues. Their revenues have come in at just around 200 odd crore rupees.
Yeah, and to be fair, let's look at the problem into two parts, right? One is, for every single customer you have, are you making money, right, from the customer, right? Which is the fundamental unit economics question, right? So take out the marketing budget. Even if you take out the 350 crores out, you're running a business of nearly 1,600 crores of expenses, where you are incurring only 250, 300 crores of revenue. This suggests, right, that whatever you're recovering for the customer is not paying for the basic, what we in the accounting terms would call cost of goods sold, right? So this is a classic business which is unit economics unprofitable, right? The second problem is that if you're spending 300 crores, right, on advertisement, right, your revenues have only scaled by 200 crores, right? So even for every single dollar in advertisement, the growth of revenues is less than 1 times of that, right? So that means you're at one level, you're hiring a customer who's not break even in the first 2 or 3 years. And then at the unit level, you're not making any contribution from the customer to make any money, right? So this is a classic example where the unit economics is not right. The product market fit doesn't work, right? And you are not being able to charge customers for a service you're providing, as a result of which the losses will only get worse. If you spend more, you will lose more, right? It's a very simple recipe. And this is not just true for Dunzo. Dunzo is unique because we have access to their independent financials. But if you look at any other quick commerce company, that's where the challenge is. If you're offering a service, right, which is a delivery service, a company will incur anywhere between 25 rupees to 100 rupees to deliver. And if you're only charging the best case 15 rupees delivery fee, every single order you're losing 60 to 100 rupees. How will you make money?
Okay, how will you make money? Good question. Let's try to find some more answers with some more people. We have a very special gentleman now joining us live on the broadcast. We have Mr. Sridharan Ramakrishnan, Editor International of TV9 English Newsverse, now joining us live on the broadcast. Sri, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us. You've tracked this. You've been in Bengaluru, the Silicon Valley of India. You've been in the Silicon Valley of the US. Tell us, quick commerce has been a boon for all of us consumers.
Absolutely.
But looks like the business ain't all that healthy.
Not at all. It can't be healthy, Krishna, for a simple reason, because if you look at the good old-fashioned businesses, which are boring, because, let's take the manufacturing industry as example. There, my business model was built around a certain amount of fixed cost and then variable cost, which is a smaller proportion of the fixed cost, right? And as I scaled, my variable cost in proportion to the revenue kept coming down, and the fixed cost also came down. But in this case, what's happening is the variable cost is probably a larger part of the expenses. So if I'm making loss with, let's say, 10,000 customers, as I keep acquiring customers, I go from 10,000 to 20,000, 30,000. My losses are growing not just in proportion, but actually in greater number, with greater velocity in some sense.
Exponentially.
Yes. So that is a fundamental issue that the quick delivery industry needs to address, that how do I also bring down the variable cost with each customer that I acquire, right? So unless you can find a recipe which addresses that problem, I mean, these numbers are not going to surprise me or any of the investors. And all of them are incurring these expenses, the marketing expenses that you talked about, in the hope that at some point the business will start making money, the costs will come down, and there'll be enough customers to pay for the expenses that they're incurring. So that's the hope.
Okay. Barnik and Sri, I have to, now that Sri is talking about this profitability numbers, nobody is surprised the fact that quick commerce business is not making money. Investors know it, everybody knows it. I just saw an old video of Jeff Bezos in a Jay Leno show interview, and Jay Leno is poking him about why Amazon hasn't turned profitable. And this was in the 90s. And Bezos had to sort of awkwardly, shyly tell him that, no, it will happen. Now, that interview seems so dated, isn't it? Barnik, my question here is this. Quick commerce, I believe, is a reality that's here to stay. It's a matter of how those businesses organize themselves. So in that sense, is it a matter of consolidation? Like any business that struggles with money, struggles with cash flow, will consolidation be the final solution for quick commerce?
I don't think consolidation is the final solution. I think we will see long, painful deaths, or maybe short, quick deaths of a few players, right? So let's be ready for that, right? The difference between a company like Amazon today versus what we're seeing in this industry is Amazon has now a proven business model of charging money from its customers for services they are offering, and they have cash machines. The only way quick commerce can be viable in India is if customers pay for delivery, and they pay what is cost, right? The challenge in India is that everyone believes you have to bring costs down, but how much less can you pay a delivery guy, right? You're anyway paying him barely 50, 60 rupees a delivery, right? So the challenge is that unless the customer is paying you 100, 200 rupees for delivery, right? There is no way the business is unit economics profitable. So in an ideal world, you should have a small number of players who have the courage to charge their customers. Maybe the business model is not viable beyond a few cities, because I don't really believe that Indian customers have still got used to paying subscription or paying fees for things they're using. But unless the customer is willing to pay money for the service, which is more than the variable cost of the business, this business will not be profitable, right? So even if you consolidate, right, even if instead of 5 players, you have 1 player, right, they would still be unprofitable in the absence of the customer paying for the service, right? So I think you need to charge the customer. Maybe an Amazon Prime model may be a right model. Maybe it's a subscription model. You subscribe and you pay 1,000 rupees a year for the full service. So I think there's work to be done on pricing and bundling to ensure you're getting more out of the customer for this to be profitable.
Okay, fair enough. That sounds like the news business, Sri. Unless otherwise the customers pay for it, the news business ain't not profitable.
But to your point about will merger help, will consolidation help in this industry? So Krishna, when I was a young reporter, I had interviewed Scott McNeely, who was the founder of Sun Microsystems.
Okay.
And that was the time when Compaq and HP were merging. So I asked Scott, what's your reaction to the merger? He said, it's like 2 garbage trucks headed for a collision. So, I mean, he was wrong about it. I think the 2 companies are doing well. I mean, HP is doing well.
Yeah.
But that, illustration stayed with me for many, many years. It stayed with me, even now. So if you were to take one loss-making quick delivery company and merge it with another, what you get is a bigger mess, a bigger loss-making company, and not a viable one.
All right. So that's the final word in, which means that we have a long way to go before we figure out this quick commerce segment, because quick commerce segment has a few questions to answer themselves. That's clearly what's coming in from the views we're getting from Mr. Barnik Chitran Maitra and Sridharan. Sri is going to stay with us. We're going to let go of Barnik. Barnik, always a joy and a pleasure talking to you, and hope to keep having you on the show.